first saw the announcement for this watch, the steel Marathon Navigator, I was skeptical. It looked to me, on first glance at least, that Marathon had just swapped a steel case for the classic plastic Navigator case and then doubled the price. Because the plastic Navigator has been around for a long time, and I have one, and I like it, so I don't need nobody messing with it, okay? The Marathon Navigator was actually designed in partnership with US Kelly Air Force Base all the way back in 1986. So we must assume that this watch directly led to the fall of the Soviet Union a few years later. Post hoc ergo propter hoc, right? And this cheap, cool plastic watch is still built to a military spec. A milspec which every American child memorizes in the first grade. Mil PRF 46374G. What a country. And it's designed to be cheap and accurate and easily replaceable. So to swap out a steel case and lose the milspec and increase the price, I don't know. But, brothers and sisters, I was wrong. This doesn't happen often, or this might actually be the first time. Is being wrong supposed to have a burning sensation like this? Doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, this is a very cool watch. Not even an upgrade like I was thinking, but the steel Navigator is its own pretty impressive thing. And this video is only possible thanks to Kara, Watch This Doc Mom on Instagram. I saw this watch at a meetup and basically said, I'm taking this watch for a video, and Kara was like, sure, take it for a video. But let me back up. Marathon is located in Canada, America's toupee, and all its watches are made in Switzerland, Europe's cummerbund. For a lot of Marathon's existence, it's made watches for militaries, almost exclusively, which is why a lot of people have never heard of Marathon, and also why a lot of watch nerds really like Marathon. Watch collectors love military stuff. Personally, I'm not really into military cosplaying or LARPing, I just like how some of these watches look and wear. I'm going to do some comparisons between the steel Navigator and my plastic Navigator, but first, some facts about the steel one. This uses a 41mm 316L stainless steel case that's 11mm thick and 48mm long. It has 20mm lugs, which weirdly we're going to talk about more. It's water resistant to 100 meters, it has a screw down crown, and it uses a sapphire crystal. There are so many variations of this watch, including a new white dial version which just was announced a few weeks ago, with and without a date, with different straps, with an Air Force logo on the dial, and this isn't even all of them. The one I have here is with a date, and with the more expensive Def Stand strap. That's a portmanteau of Defense Standard. The strap makes this a little more expensive. The list price for this specific watch is $830, and I have seen them for as low as $720. And also, you don't need the more expensive nylon strap. On my 7-inch wrist, which is definitely not rated for national defense, this asymmetrical case looks pretty cool. I like how the case itself acts as crown guards. This functional design unintentionally gives Navigators a very unusual, very identifiable look, and I like it. Since the case is only 11mm thick, having it sit even on 2 pieces of nylon is not an issue for me. It doesn't really make the watch sit too high. Although I still prefer a single pass-through strap. I just don't need the extra keeper strap for most watches, and especially this one. Now, you probably noticed already that this watch is powered by a quartz movement. It's ticking, and that's just like the plastic milspec Navigator. I know we like to romanticize mechanical watch movements, and they are cool and complicated and historical. I love them. But the thing is, they're not cheap, and they're not tough, and they're not even accurate. That's why a real military watch will most likely have a quartz movement. But, and this was a surprise to me, this doesn't use a normal quartz movement. See, most standard quartz movements are rated to about plus or minus 15 seconds per month, about a half a second per day, and that's really accurate. But the steel Navigator uses the ETA F06.412 heavy drive, pressy drive movement. This one is accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year. 10 seconds per year, that's amazing. Both Grand Seiko and Citizen make high accuracy quartz movements this accurate or more, but you can't find them for $800. And that's the first of several differences between the steel Navigator and the standard plastic one that I own. The steel Navigator is an order of magnitude more accurate than the plastic one. Now, let's keep going with the comparison. The standard plastic Navigator has fixed bars between the lugs. They can be removed with enough force, but they're made to be permanent. Now, they're permanent for safety, but this can also prevent you from adding some 2-piece straps to this watch. Now, the steel Navigator uses traditional spring bars. less secure than fixed bars, but also far more versatile. As for which is better, it totally depends on your preference. I prefer spring bars. I'm not worried about a spring bar failing on me. I've heard it happens to a lot of guys, but never me. Another difference is water resistance. 100 meters for the steel watch, 60 meters for the plastic one. Also, the steel watch has a screw-down crown while the plastic does not. Now, I've gone swimming in the Mediterranean with the plastic Navigator and had no problems. The watch was fine, so I think 60 meters is more than enough for all of us armchair divers, but more resistance is more gooder, I guess. One clear improvement that I guess surprised me is the difference in how the bezels feel. Both watches use a 12-hour bezel, and I'm a big fan of 12-hour bezels. They're great. A really simple way to track a second time zone. So I work with people in the UK, which is 8 hours ahead of me, so I turn the bezel so that 8 is at the top of the watch. Now, when I want to know what time it is in Birmingham, UK, I read the hour hand from the bezel. Now, this doesn't tell me whether it's AM or PM like a GMT hand would, and it doesn't really matter. If I need something, they better be at their desk. I'm kidding, it usually goes the opposite way. And the difference in how these bezels feel is night and day, is AM and PM. I thought the plastic one was fine, but now that I feel how sturdy and clicky the steel one is, the plastic one feels like, I don't know, like it's made of some material that's hard but softer than most metals and lighter, and I can't think of it. Another difference on the bezel is that the steel one has a lume pip at 12 o'clock and the plastic one does not, or at least mine doesn't. And that's a very interesting thing about all the Marathon Navigator watches. The luminescent material is radioactive tritium, for real. That's why there's a radiation symbol on the dial. As the tritium decays, it produces light for about 25 years. Con, yeah, eventually the tritium tubes will stop producing light. Pro, you never need to charge the lume with light. The markers and hands are always glowing. Another con, it doesn't glow super bright. Another pro, it's bright enough. Another con, I ran out of pros and cons. This specific reference has a date window at 4:41. It's there, it's functional. On a dial this busy, on a watch that's supposed to be purpose-built, it seems right. There are no date versions of this watch, and there are ones without even the Marathon name on the dial. We call these sterile dials. But what's missing for me on those watches is the red tip of the seconds hand. You'll only find that red tip on the versions with the date or the Air Force logo. I really like that splash of color, pop of color, how it plays with the light on this tool watch there. I just crammed a bunch of watch review tropes into 2 seconds. Now everyone take 4 shots. But I really do like that red, and I really do like a lot about this watch. There are some improvements here over the plastic Navigator that I wasn't expecting and that, for me at least, are really good moves. Now, I'm sure there are lots of you saying, $800 for a quartz watch? And unfortunately, I hear you, you're very loud. And that's fine, if that's your issue, no problem, get a Timex, get a Swatch. You have a lot of great options out there. For me, I think this is cool enough and special enough to warrant that price. Sapphire crystal, good water resistance, good bezel, tritium, and a high accuracy quartz movement. Yeah, it all adds up for me. And so to wrap up this video, let me hit you with a watch joke. Why was the watch lying still on a tropical beach? Just to unwind. Jeez, I'm sorry.